Okay, I'm doing a little tutorial, but just a little video on how I decide on my trips. So if you Google search Florida designated paddling trails, you'll find a page that has hundreds of rivers in the state of Florida, and all of the PDF files that you can download look about like this. You'll have a head or a cover page, and in this case it shows 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sub maps. I don't know if you can see that. Here's 1, 2, kind of goes down the way. Some of them have 2, some have 1, some have like 20, 30, depending on the length of the river. And then beyond page 1, you'll see it goes into map number 1. And it'll show an access point. It shows what's there, just a boat ramp. It has a few little notes on it. We get down here to access point number 2. It's another boat launch or boat ramp. And then we get to here, access point 3 at Fort Meade. It gives coordinates for each of the stops. But you can see at this particular access point, there's a launch. There is restrooms and potable water. Again, we get down here, and it's kind of the same throughout all the maps. Nice little setup. And again, this is found. I don't know the name of the website, but Florida Paddling Trails. And then you've got a couple pages that just give you general information about the river, the paddling experience, and then talks a little bit about the access points, how to reach them by car, what's available at them, and in some cases a few other little tidbits about that access point. They've also got here canoe outpost at the Peace River, canoe outpost Peace River with a phone number and such, so you can get a hold of them if you want to use them as an outfitter for shuttling and or renting kayaks, canoes, or even camping in some situations. So this is basically what you get. What I did is I decided, hey, I want to do the Peace River. Here it is. The total length is 70 miles. And so from there, I went on to Google Maps, which I actually have on this screen over here. I zoomed in on the Peace River. And you can see I'm going way in on Bartow here. And here's where it begins. And I added waypoints to where they are. Now, access point number 1, you can see, is a boat ramp. And then as you go down the river, I marked out all the points. As you go through, you'll see kind of disappearing. There's access point number 2, 3, and all the way down anyway. And then I decided, okay, along the way, where are we going to stop? What's going on? We need decided to do in 3 nights, 4 days. The second night, because of our trip, is going to be at Pioneer Park. It's a campground, and the family is meeting us there, right here on the river. So that left me to essentially split the first, what ended up being 35 miles, 37 miles into 2 nights, and then the remaining 31, yes, in the second night. So anyway, that's what I did. Another thing I did is I went through this, and I zoomed way in, and I kind of followed the river, and I said, okay, if I'm coming along here, now here I see that there's a creek that kind of dumps into it. So I went over, and let me show you another PDF file over here, on the sheet, or map 1, and I said, there's a stream that comes in right there. Went down a little bit further on the Google Maps, and I saw there's a bridge, so I marked the bridge. A few more streams, bridge, stream. There's a big pond right on the edge there, just to give me an idea. Then I also marked on here that access point is at 6.5 miles. It's a dock, it's on the left. Of course, all directions are going downriver. So then here we are, 13 miles. There's no dock, but there's a ramp, it's on the left. Again, there's a bridge right there. Then there's some power lines. This access point is at 16 miles. There's a path, kind of a ramp that's on the left. Of course, again, here's a bridge, and there's some power lines. And I decided based on the mileage, and I wanted an obvious spot, that's where we're going to camp on night one. So all of these markings that I've added here in red came from me zooming in on here and deciding where these things were. In fact, let me go back out here, and you can see when I was looking at this, came across this river and said, okay, there are power lines across here, and I don't know if you can see that, but here is like a power line stanchions with their shadows. So I know that these are power lines. So I thought, you know what, just past those power lines, nice place, it's obvious to remember, there's a good place to stop. And I kind of did the same thing on night 3, which of course is way down here. But then after I did that, of course, you know, I have this kind of as a finished PDF file, and I printed it out into 6 sheets. So we're all set. That's what I have. There are printed each sheet on 8.5 by 11. I don't necessarily need the last parts of this PDF file with the information, only because I've used the information given here to mark all of that and decide where and I was going to stay and whatnot. So that's kind of how I laid out and decided on my trip, and that's how I decided to figure out where we were going to be on which day and how far. Fairly simple. It takes a little time, but it's actually really fun doing things that way. So again, this is how it started, just plain. And again, you can find those. In fact, let me look. Nope, I thought I had the website still open. I don't. But if you just Google Florida Designated Paddling Trails, you should be able to find them with no problem. But this is how they look. Again, not a whole lot of information on them, just river access points and longitude and latitude numbers for a GPS. So back over here, the points that I have on this Google Earth, they will be, all of these points will be added to my GPS, my handheld GPS, and then I'll be able to kind of keep an eye on where we are, and as we go along, it'll, you know, track my time and make sure I'm making good distance and good time, so that you know, day one doesn't end up being a 12-hour of paddling day, which it shouldn't. River flows about 2 miles an hour, so you take that into consideration. Paddle about 2 miles an hour. So day one at 18 miles should be 4.5. You know, I'll give 6 hours, maybe 7 hours on the river. Give us time if we need to portage or anything. You know, plus stop and take a break to eat some lunch and just relax, get out of the water a little bit. So that's kind of how I plan my trip. That's how I do it, and looking forward to the trips. Again, 70 miles. It's from Bartow, Florida, down to Arcadia, Florida, along the Peace River, heading almost due south the whole time, and we should be good. The paddling distances, we're going 18 on the first night, 18 is day 1, I'm sorry, 19 is day 2, and then 16 and 15, I believe. So that'll bring us to Arcadia from Bartow. Going to be a fun trip. And that's all done with just a little bit of working, a little bit of work and looking and zooming in and out and making little marks and checking out a trip. But that's it.